The draft lottery finally happened, and this is what we got. I'm a Jazz fan personally, so I'm super excited about this getting the second overall pick. But I wanted to just do a mock draft pre or post lottery, and so let's get into it. Washington. I think a lot of people are saying this is 100% AJ Debonsa, and I agree. I think it's going to be AJ Debonsa. I don't know if I necessarily think it's 100%. I could see a Cameron Boozer, dude, because if I and other people think that Cameron Boozer's the best in the draft, I feel like other people are going to think that. But I do think GMs might be a little too scared to not pick Debonsa number one. I mean, he's a fantastic player, probably the best driver of the basketball in the draft. Gets an insane amount of free throws because he has a really talented pickup skills. Let me just go to AJ Debonsa and his shot chart. Let me just show you guys. 70% from the rim. His mid-range numbers were okay. Three-point numbers not necessarily amazing, but still he just look at the volume. 203 rim shots at 70%. That is unreal. 69%, but you know what I mean. He's an unreal prospect, unreal player, has huge size, pretty athletic. And Washington with Trae Young, you have Trae Young, Trae Johnson, Debonsa, Sarr, Davis if he stays. That's a pretty good lineup, man. You got Bub Carrington, Keyshawn George. You got some good pieces in a very interesting team, and I think they would go AJ Debonsa with the first pick. Number 2, Utah. Okay, so a lot of people are saying Darren for sure, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing. I think Cameron Boozer has more of a say than people are saying. The thing with Cameron Boozer, right? Let me try to get people to understand. Most people probably don't watch the Jazz. Yusuf Nurkic this year had a ton of success, multiple triple-doubles, running offense from the top of the key and just playmaking out of that. Cameron Boozer is literally, in my opinion, I think definitely top 5 passer in the draft, if not the best passer in the draft. He can fit that Yusuf Nurkic role. Now, people will say, oh, he's not a center. I understand, but if he's playing next to Jaren Jackson Jr., Jaren Jackson Jr. can play more of center role, at least defensively. Cam Boozer's an outstanding rebound, kind of helps the deficiencies of Jaren Jackson Jr. from the rebounding aspect. Is still going to average a ton of assists in this Utah Jazz offense. He can play with Walker Kessler as well, because we've seen plenty of times where Cameron Boozer comes off the pick and roll and with Patrick Ngungba, and he throws lobs or he gets downhill. He can play with Walker Kessler. That would be an outstanding rebounding group. He can play with Jaren Jackson Jr. and help him rebound and play more of that center role offensively because he sets good screens as well. I think Cameron Boozer's fit on the Jazz is honestly better than people think. And if we go to Cameron Boozer real quick, let me just show you his shot chart. Even more volume at the rim, almost 100 more shots at the rim for Cam Boozer, 65%, a little bit worse percentage at the rim, but gets there more, shoots a ton of free throws. His three-point percent, 39% on 138 attempts. Doesn't really have mid-range volume, but I think that's because Duke is more analytically based, and so they didn't really have him shooting middies. I'm not too worried about that, but you could argue that lowers the ceiling. If you look at his metric, just look at the percentile he is in everything. Analytically, he's definitely the best prospect in the draft. The thing with Darren, though, is I think he fits this Utah team really well as well. They run a lot of off-ball screens where they have the center at the top of the key, and you kind of, you make decisions whether you're going to cut to the hoop or set off-ball screens. They set a lot of flares, set a lot of pin downs, and that could get Darren a lot of open looks. I think he will get a lot of open looks. The Utah Jazz could use another ball handler because outside of Keontae George, you have Ace Bailey, not really a big ball handler. Larry Markkinen, not a ball handler. Jaren Jackson Jr., he can kind of handle the ball, but you're not considering him a ball handler by any means, and neither with Walker Kessler. All you really have is Isaiah Collier, but Isaiah Collier has a lot of problems. So, I really like Darren Peterson on this team, and I think I'm actually leaning Darren Peterson for the Jazz, but I'm saying I wouldn't sleep on Cam Boozer. I would be super excited for the Jazz and I would love it as a Jazz fan if we got Cameron Boozer, but I do think Darren fits a little bit better, and I'm super high on Darren personally. So I'm going to go with Darren Peterson, but Utah fans, they need to be more excited if we do get Cam Boozer. 3, this is easy. All the things I said about I'll talk about Caleb Wilson a little. Maybe there's a world Memphis would go Caleb Wilson because I think the Caleb Wilson-Zach Edey pairing would be very fun defensively, but I will say the spacing with that might not be great. Cameron Boozer actually brings the spacing, is a better offensive player, in my opinion, the best player in the draft. So, I'm going to go Cam Boozer, but Caleb Wilson could certainly prevent or like do some things defensively for them that could create problems. And offensively, he could be a really good player as well. So this isn't to discredit Caleb Wilson by any means, but I mean, I think Cam Boozer to Memphis. They draft more like analytically based too, so I think they really like Cam Boozer as well. I almost think they would pick him at number 1, and they're getting him at number 3. So I think Memphis has a pretty easy pick here with Cameron Boozer at number 3. And then number 4, the Chicago Bulls, they jump up. They were supposed to be at 9. They jump up to top 4. Absolutely amazing for the Bulls. They finally have something good happen for them. And, I mean, this is an easy pick in Caleb Wilson, but they just hired someone new, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was talking about like he wanted positionally length, athleticism, size. Like he said he valued all those things from a team building standpoint, and Caleb Wilson literally does all those things perfectly. I think they would be ecstatic in Chicago to get a guy like Caleb Wilson. He's someone that can really start this new era of Chicago basketball, and it's not going to be another Patrick Williams. He's an outstanding player. He could even go in the top 3 potentially, depending on what happens. Like if Utah does go Cameron Boozer, man, Memphis would have a hard decision there if between Caleb and Peterson. I just think Caleb fits them better, but for Chicago, this is awesome for them. They need some size. They need a guy at his position. He's absolutely fantastic player. Super happy for Chicago to get a guy like Caleb Wilson. Now, this is a tough one. The Clippers. I can see a world where they trade down, honestly, or maybe they just like trade Kawhi and get some more picks. Because 5, this is really hard. Like Darius, if you are going to keep Darius Garland long term, like I don't think Darius Acuff is the pick. Kingston Flemings could certainly be the pick. I don't think he fits amazing next to Darius Garland. They're both kind of small. That's why I like Keen Wagler. In my last mock, I went Keen Wagler to the Clippers as well. So I think I'm doing it again. I mean, Keen Wagler, he has more positional size. He does self-create a lot, but, he's 6'6". He's more of an off-ball, way more than Darius Acuff, even though he did create a ton, but I still think he's decent off-ball. He just likes to self-create, but, you could play him as a shooting guard. He's a really good passer. A lot of people compare him to Tyrese Haliburton. I don't know if he's quite Tyrese Haliburton good, but he is pretty good. I think he could play next to Darius Garland a little bit. And if Darius Garland's even in the future, maybe he's not, which in that case, then you could go with really any of these guys. But I'm going to go with Keaton Wagler. He's really good, and I think if they do go with Darius long-term, he kind of fits the best there. Brooklyn at 6. This sucks to be at 6 for Brooklyn, but you could get a really, really, really good player at 6 and someone that they could still be really excited about. Now, what would they do necessarily? It's tough because they have Yegor Demon, who I think is like more of a wing for them, but he definitely brings some size to their team. They drafted Drake Powell, Danny Wolf, Nolan Traore, Ben Saroff. Like, they got all these guards, but I mean, I don't think you really care about the guards. Obviously, you have like Nick Claxton, Michael Porter Jr. Maybe they're not there long term. But, like, I think you could go with a Darius Acuff, but then I just think defensively you're kind of putting yourself in a tough spot. I like Kingston Flemings over Darius Acuff anyway, and Kingston Flemings I don't think is going to have a lot of the same defensive negatives that Darius Acuff brings, especially when Kingston gets a little bit bigger, because right now he's a little skinny. That's kind of like the main problem, I think, for him. He gets a little bit bigger. I think that does wonders for him. He's a guy that really self-creates. It's a really good mid-range, shoots the 3 well, and needs to shoot it more, but has a good handle. Played in the Houston offense that's really hard to succeed in because it's really clunky and they're more defensive-oriented. Kingston Flemings is an awesome player, and he's someone that Brooklyn could be and should be insanely excited about. I know you want to get in the top 4, so did everybody, but Kingston Flemings is a really good option here at number 6. Number 7, Sacramento, another team that's like you got to feel bad for them. They don't jump. They lost that coin flip for Utah. Utah got number 2, and they got number 7. So the coin flip resulted in -5 picking. But, I mean, for this team, you really don't have much that you're really like thinking in the future on this team. Maybe like Keegan Murray, but even he's been playing worse and worse recently. It's really hard for me not to say Darius Acuff because they are not really in a position to like worry about defense and next to other pieces, because like Brooklyn, you have Yegor Demon, like he's a long-term piece, right? What's the Kings' long-term piece? Like Maxime Renault, like like Maxime Renault had a good season, but I don't think he's gonna be like someone that you're like really invested in long-term. So I think like you're basically working from scratch. This roster you have right now is not gonna be long-term at all, like nobody basically, and to me, you just take best player available regardless of his deficiencies, and that's why I think Darius Acuff to Sacramento makes a lot of sense. And Darius Acuff is someone that you could be really excited about at 7. He has the potential to really be like a a Damian Lillard type of player. I could see that happening, and you get that type of player at 7. Like, this could be a definite steal for them. 8, Atlanta. This is certainly interesting as well. I think they could use another ball handler. They have a lot of guys that like to get to the mid-range. You have a guy here, Michael Brown Jr., who shoots a lot of threes. Is another guy that can handle the ball. I think Ade Mara is interesting. I'm going to be honest. I think Ade Mara would be interesting. Hard for me to pass out Michael Brown Jr., just the three-point shooter he is, the passer he is, the three-point volume he'll bring to your team. In like the USA ball, he was the best player on the team, and AJ DeBonso was on that team. Like, he's had moments. Yeah, he's been dealing with back issues, and that's where I'm like, I still, depending on what the medicals look like, I would be really excited for Michael Brown Jr. And he's another guy. It's like a lot of these guards, like, it's really hard to tell who's going to be the best. And I could see a world where Michael Brown Jr. just ends up being in the best, and Atlanta gets an absolute steal here at number 8. And so I'm going to go with Michael Brown Jr. Dallas at 9. I actually really like this for Dallas, what I'm going to do for them. I'm going to go with Braden Burries, but I think Braden Burries, like Cooper Flag, is awesome. Braden Burries brings this defensive vibe to him. He's a really good off-ball player. He's a really smart player. He makes a bunch of winning plays. And getting these type of guys next to Cooper Flag, who's going to be a superstar, I'm telling you, a lot of people compare it to Derek White. I kind of see it. I don't necessarily know if he's going to be as good as Derek White is, because Derek White's a really good shot blocker. He could end up being a good shooter like Derek White as well. He may be even a better shooter. I don't know. I think the Derek White comparison is interesting. I think they both make a lot of winning plays and impact winning a ton. And Braden Burries, if I'm Dallas and you can end up with Braden Burries, yeah, he might not be like, the flashiest, highest potential type of pick, but he's a building piece and someone that's going to contribute to winning next to Cooper Flag. And that's something that I would be super excited about, having a Braden Burries, a Cooper Flag, a Derek Lively, a P.J. Washington, a Daniel Gafford, even like Ryan Nembhard look good. Obviously, he's probably a backup, but still, like, this is something that you can get really excited about, especially while having Cooper Flag. And the post-Luka era would be super interesting with Braden Burries going to Dallas. Next, Milwaukee. This is a pick that I continue to do over and over and over. I've continued to do this in my mock drafts over and over. It's LeBaron Feinlon. Milwaukee didn't jump, so it's going to continue to happen unless, for whatever reason, I have LeBaron go earlier in a mock. But like LeBaron Feinlon here, before I get into LeBaron Feinlon, since I talked about this enough, could I see a Yaxel Lendeborg? Maybe, if you're going to be honest. If they're going to 100% move on from Giannis, maybe they go with Nate Ahmet. There's some things that you could really like with Nate Ahmet. I don't personally love Nate Ahmet a lot. If you go to, I'm going to have him really low, yeah. If you go to his shot chart, 50% from the rim is not very good. His mid-range numbers, not good. His three-point percentage is okay. He's not an efficient basketball player at all. Like, look at his rim numbers, right? He's 6'10". Think about that. And let's go to like Isaiah Evans and his rim numbers. 67% from the rim. I know he shot mostly threes, but still, 67% from the rim for Isaiah Evans, who is significantly shorter. And then you go to Nate Ahmet, 51% from the rim. Let's even go with like a Ben Sturts. Well, Ben Sturts is like 70%, 72% from the rim. Let's go with like a Dalen Swain, similar size, 64% from the rim. Even Braden Burries, who's like 6'4", they have it posted, 65% from the rim. The only one comparable, maybe like Kean Wagler's is pretty low. Yeah, 55%. He's even higher. Even Kingston Fleming's in a super clunked up offense, 56%. He's not an efficient basketball player whatsoever, but he has some size. He has had like some shooting like potential, like where you see it a little bit. Defensively, you can like kind of get behind it. I could see Nate Ahmet going to Milwaukee. I just want to say that I could see it happening, but LeBaron Feinlon's a way better fit. Having a stretch big and Miles Turner next to LeBaron Feinlon, it's going to create some space. It's going to let him work in space. He's absolutely amazing. He has a terrific handle. Let me just show LeBaron Feinlon's shot chart real quick. 63% from the rim, 40% from three on 200 attempts. His short midi was good. His long midi, not great, but you don't even want him shooting long middies. Look at his shot chart. This is exactly what you want to see. 3-point volume, rim volume. That's what you want. This is exactly what you want. 50% from the field. His overall statistics, can I find that? If you look at points per game, 22 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal. Like his production in college basketball was amazing. He had an insanely good handle. His shot chart looks amazing. I'm just saying, LeBaron Feinstein, he's really good. I think he's going to end up going a little bit lower than he should. He's ranked 11 on here. I would have him ranked higher. Like, clearly, this is what you see. I have him ranked at 9, but like I could even see him be up to like 7, 6, 5. Like these guards are really hard for me to rank, and I really like LeBaron Feinstein, especially next to Stretch Big and Miles Turner. I think he'd fit this offense amazing. Now, Golden State. I think last time I went with Heinz Steinbach, and I do like that. I kind of want to switch it up though and do something different. What I'm going to do here is going to be interesting because it's kind of like it's a lot different than what I did last time. Well, not a lot different. I'm going to go with a Damara. And I guess my thinking here is like, I think he's just too good to. I mean, where do I have him on mine? 11. Yeah, this is like exact range in my big board where I have him. Him and Porzingis just gives you like elite center play, a bunch of size. Damar is a little different. He's more of like a post up. He's a really good passer, pick and roll threat instead of a pick and pop. I think that could be really good. He's absolutely huge. He's going to set terrific screens. Like I think he could really work with Steph Curry as well. And as much as I like Heinz Steinbach for this team, and I think Heinz Steinbach could be a really good pick, I think Yaxel Lendeborg could be a really good pick for them as well. I am going to go with a Damara, and I think Golden State could be super excited getting a guy like a Damara at number 11. Next, OKC. Thank goodness they didn't jump. Last time in my mock, they were drafting number 1. So I'm glad they're at number 12 this time. This is an interesting one. It's like I think this is a fairly easy decision for me, but I could see Heinz Steinbach, and that's not crazy to me for them to go with a Heinz Steinbach at 14, especially like you don't know what's going to happen with Isaiah Hartenstein, but you did have Thomas Sorber. You kind of figured that out before. He is coming off an ACL, so you don't know. But I like Yaxel Lendeborg. I mean, he just feels like he would be an OKC guy. He guards. He makes a bunch of winning plays. He's a really good player. Let's look at Yax's shot chart. 72% for the rim, almost 37% from three, and a high volume. Doesn't shoot a lot of mid ranges. That's good. This is the type of he shoots a lot of shots from over here, but that's okay. This is what you want: rim volume, 3-point volume. OKC is going to just be a straight role player because it's OKC. They don't need anything. He has great positional size. He can really play in transition. He can really guard. Like this is just an OKC player. An absolutely crazy talent. OKC doesn't need this. It's ridiculous that they're going to get a guy like Yaxel Lendeborg here. It's just unfair how much talent that they get, but Yaxel would be a awesome fit here. Next, Miami. So this is certainly interesting for Miami. I've continued to really like Dalen Swain in this area. Heinz Steinbach's interesting, but you have Kel'el Ware and Bam Adebayo. I don't know if you necessarily need a Heinz Steinbach. Could they draft a Nate Ahmet? Maybe, potentially. But I think I like Dalen Swain for them. Dalen Swain, if I pull him up real quick, I have him 12 on my big board. He, like, numbers wise, maybe he's not as efficient as Yaxel Lendeborg, but if you look at his handle, you look at the way he gets to the rim, you look at the way he guards, the way he can really pass. He's an all-around player as well. Again, I do think he's a little bit worse than Yax in terms of like his efficiency in college basketball. Now, as a prospect, I actually like him a little bit more than Yaxel Lendeborg long term because I think he's more of a good handle and downhill driver than Yaxel Lendeborg. So I think that can create some more and better potential. And he just like feels like a Miami Heat type of player. And I think Miami would be getting a fantastic player here with Dalen Swain at number 13 and something that if I was a Miami fan, maybe they don't know a lot about Dalen Swain. Maybe they do. I'm not sure, but they will learn about him because he's going to be fantastic. And I love this fit with Miami, actually. Next, we have Charlotte. Did not jump up in the draft. Not necessarily surprising. They stick at 14. I've had them sticking at 14 pretty much every time. What's something they can use? They could use some rebounding. They could use some more size. This guy's more offensive oriented, but I don't really see Heinz Steinbach falling out of the lottery. So I think this is a Heinz Steinbach area. And yeah, I don't know how you're not ecstatic with this. If you're Charlotte, you get a center, which is something that you could really use. And Steinbach's absolutely amazing. I mean, let's look at Steinbach's shot chart real quick, just so you can see 70% from the rim on crazy volume. That's really like all. I mean, he shoots a decent amount of threes, so maybe you could rely on him a little bit to shoot the three. But he just has a crazy volume at the hoop, and he actually has a pretty good handle. He's physical, and his rebounding. I mean, let's look at his rebounding numbers real quick. Look at this. 11.8 rebounds per game with 18 points, a block and a steal. Like I don't know. He's a really good player, and yeah, for Charlotte, this would be awesome. I actually would really like him in Charlotte. Chicago again. Remember, they got Caleb Wilson with the first pick, or their first pick, the fourth pick, but their first pick. You could definitely use some more size. I think you could use some more size. Caleb Wilson's certainly not a center, and at some point you're gonna have to invest in center. This is a guy I very much like. I took him for the Grizzlies last time. Got some heat for that. Some people didn't like that I took this guy for the Grizzlies, and now I'm taking him a spot higher, and I'm taking him for the Bulls. But, I mean, if you're like, think about it, you have Caleb Wilson, right? They want athleticism, they want size, they want length. Jaden Quaintance brings athleticism, he brings the size, he brings defensive. Like Caleb Wilson and Jaden Quaintance defensively is insane. Yeah, is the spacing the best? No, it's not. But I still think it's like at 15, you're getting a chance to get like one of the best defensive pairings in the NBA potentially in Jaden Quaintance and Caleb Wilson. The athleticism is off the charts there. Oh my gosh, this makes me so excited even just like talking about this for the Bulls. I would be so excited if I'm a Bulls fan being able to pair up Jaden Quaintance with Caleb Wilson. That is spectacular. I mean, I love it. I love it. I don't know if there's Bulls fans in here. I mean, you could offer a different perspective, but I don't really see how you don't go with Jaden Quaintance. Another of my mocks, I went with Nate Ament, but like I don't really see Nate Ament since you got Caleb Wilson. Like you got his position a 4. Maybe if you think Nate Ament could be a 3, but just like way better in Caleb Wilson. Now you can address center and get some more defense. Like I don't know how you don't do it. Excuse me, by the way. Excuse me again. But let's just move on to Memphis. Look, Memphis got Cam Boozer. I think here, man, like, I think getting a Merez Johnson would be kind of cool, but at the same time, you did just get Cam Boozer, so they kind of play similar positions. Nate Ament could be interesting, but they kind of play similar positions. It's like, what do you think? I would have went Quaintance again if I had him fall here, but it's like, I don't know if they would reach for Sanak. I don't know if I really like that. But it's like, other than if you're taking Merez or Nate Ament, you're going with Bennett Sturts. I like Bennett Sturts a lot, but do I think he's a Memphis guy? Not necessarily. Like, yeah, I think it's Merez or Nate. I'm trying to think, like, next to Cam Boozer, what could be better? Man, it's hard for me to think Nate's going to fall. But like Memphis drafts like so much better than to take a Nate Ament. They just do. I feel like every single one of their picks are like analytically like driven and they're really good. Maybe they would. I mean, you could play Merez at some 5 or Cam Boozer at some 5 next to Edie. I'm going Merez Johnson. He's so physical. He's such a winning player. He's really good. I love Merez Johnson. I'm going with him at 16. Memphis, maybe they don't want that. I don't care. This is what I think is really good. Getting Cameron Boozer, getting Merez Johnson in the same draft, you're empowering your will physically. You're going to be dominating the glass, especially with Zach Edey. You're getting size. Size wins, and you already have a lot of guards. Because now you have Merez, you have Boozer, you have Cedric Howard, you have Zach Edey, you have Ty Jerome, you have Scottie Pippen Jr., you got Walter Clayton, you still technically have John Morant, Gigi Jackson. Like these are some of the guys that you have, and to add a Merez, I really like it. So I have a feeling people might end up arguing the Merez Johnson pick, but I just think size wins, and to get more physicality and defense and rebounding, like that's always good. Next, with OKC. Went with the Axel Lenneborg last time. This is where I think Nate Ament could go. If he gets here, it's like, why? If you're OKC, the thing is, I don't think they're going to pick both these picks, but I'm not going to predict no trades in this. We're just going to act like they are going to take both these picks. Why not take a swing at Nate Ament? You have nothing to lose here. Like, guess what? Nate Ament doesn't turn out. Who cares? You don't need him to. So I think they go at Nate Ament, even though he does have a lot of flaws. Next was Charlotte. We went with Steinbach last time. So now you can really go with anything. I would have loved Dalen Swain for them, but I picked Dalen Swain right before because I just feel like they could use someone that can really get downhill and could really create a little bit outside of 3-point shooting. Because you got Kobe. Like, I like Ben Sturts. I don't know necessarily like Ben Sturts for this because you have Kobe White. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have, yeah, man. It's tough. It's tough. Maybe they would go with Ben Sturts. I kind of think maybe they would go with Kareem Lopez. He's a guy that can kind of like do it all. I like Cameron Carr a lot. If I didn't just take Steinbach, I would have thought about Chris Nack. Alan Graves, maybe you could get behind. But like, I think out of here, Kareem Lopez makes a lot of sense. He's a wing. I think a wings and that you could always use more wings and size. And Kareem Lopez can really catch and drive off the catch. He can do a lot of things. He can catch and shoot as well. Tijon Salon, like you technically have him, but like, do I really like him? No, I don't. But I kind of like Cameron Carr for them too. And I like Cameron Carr a lot more than I like Kareem Lopez. Like, if you look at where Cameron Carr is, he's at 19 for me. Kareem Lopez 24. So, like, I have a little bit of a gap there. And it's like 70% from the rim from Cameron Carr, 37% from three. He's not going to do too much. He shoots threes and rim. You know what? I just convinced myself in Cameron Carr. He's a guy that, he'll give you some shooting. He'll give you some athleticism. He's super long, but he also gives you some defensive things and values and skills that you can use. And I actually really like Cameron Carr for them, but I could see a Kareem Lopez as well. But I'm gonna go with Cameron Carr for Charlotte at 18, and Steinbach and Carr. I mean, those are two guys that I really like personally. Toronto, interesting here. I think I went with Bennett Sturts last time, and I really like that fit for them. I got some comments saying that they don't think Bennett Sturts could play in this like high transition offense. I don't agree. I think Bennett Sturts is so good, and he's such a smart player, and he's such an efficient player, and he has such high IQ. And yeah, he played in a slow pace. So going from the slowest pace in college basketball to a high paced team, I understand, but look at his skill set. He shoots, he can dribble, he can really pass. He has a lot of the skills that Toronto's necessarily missing. And to think that a guy with his caliber of play and his IQ can't play in a transition offense, I don't agree with you there. Maybe you could go with Christian Anderson because he provides a lot of shooting. He can really play make as well. He has a good handle. I'm okay with Christian Anderson as well. If you don't like Bennett Sturts and you think he can't play in transition offense, then okay, then go with Christian Anderson, and maybe that's who you think they should draft. I personally like Bennett Sturts more. If you look at where I have him here, I have Bennett Sturts ranked at 14. I have Christian Anderson ranked at 23. So I think there's a very sizable gap there. And even if you look at Bennett Sturts, I mean, I pulled him up once, so let's pull him up again. 72% from the rim, 36% from three on crazy volume. He doesn't shoot a ton of mid-ranges, but his long mid-range was actually really good, 55%. His short mid-range is weirdly like way worse. And then you look at Christian Anderson, he's going to have a really good three-point, 42% on high volume, 62%, but very much lower rim volume, very much lower, and shot it way worse. Mid-range was pretty well, though. But still, I don't know. I personally like Ben Sturts for Toronto a lot. I've been loving that. San Antonio. Again, I've been saying they could use some size. They could use some functional play. They could use someone that is gonna just be an off ball next to Wemby, but will still guard, but can again give them some size. Koa Pete is someone that I've liked for them. Alan Graves is someone I think is interesting for them actually a lot because analytically, he's really good. Do they have Alan Graves' shot chart on here? They do. 41% from three, 55% from the rim. It's just a crazy number, but it's not terrible. And if you go to his stats, 11 points per game, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. But look at that. 2 steals and a block. And he didn't play a ton of minutes. Just, do they have his minutes? Yeah, minutes per game. 22.6 minutes per game. That's nothing. And he still produced a ton for Santa Clara. So I kind of like Alan Graves for them. He's a guy that gives you size, gives you some stocks, can really shoot the ball, and can play next to Wembanyama. So I'm going to go with Alan Graves at 20. At 20, I really do like that. 21. This is an easy one for me personally. I really like Christian Anderson for Detroit. They could definitely use some more shooting. Definitely use a ball handler. He can really pass as well. He's really skilled. And again, let me show you some of his assist numbers, even though I do have him ranked a little bit lower. 7.4 assists per game. I mean, a steal a game, 18 points. Like, he does a lot statistically. He can really pass, and he's 42% from three on high volume. So I think Detroit gets someone that they would be insanely excited with here. 22 Philadelphia. This has been a spot where I said last time, like, I want them to pick Henry Vesar so bad, and I would want them to take Henry Vesar. Like, look at Henry Vesar, man. I have him ranked a lot higher than other people, 16. But look at this, 75% from the rim, 43% from three. He's so efficient. Like, I don't like. And defensively, I thought he played really good. He can catch the ball at the top of the key, do dribble handoffs, pass from the top of the key. He's such a good player. He's such an underrated big man in this draft. I don't know why he's ranked so low. 30 on here, I think, is ridiculous. I could even see myself being a little bit too low, having him at 16. And Philadelphia being able to get him here, I'm doing it again. Chris Knack also would be really cool, I think. Really, really cool. If they went with Chris Knack, I would be like, okay, awesome pick. I would support that fully. But Henry Vesar, he's so good. He's really good at everything. His shot chart is ridiculous. If you looked at his shot chart, you'd be like, he's top 10. And maybe he should be. I don't necessarily think quite top 10 because his draft class is insanely good. I'm going with Henry Vesar again. And Philly should be ecstatic about that. Atlanta. Who did we go with for the first pick? We went with Michael Brown. That is right. Okay, so they already figured out some of the three-point shooting and another ball handler, right? I think you go center. I think this is exactly where I would go with a Chris Knack. I think you could go with a Flory Badunga if he stays in the draft. I just want to mention that. I think Flory Badunga could be really good for them if he does stay in the draft. Again, I'm not going to pick him because I don't think he's going to stay in the draft, so I'm kind of staying away from Badunga, and I'm going to go with Chris Knack. Chris Knack is someone that, yeah, he had a bad shot chart at Houston. He shot way too many mid-ranges. You can get that out of him. He rebounded the ball. His offensive rebounding numbers are absolutely insane. I could probably actually pull that up here. Chris Knack Jr., why is it not working? There we go. Let's look at his shot chart first. Look at the amount of mid-range volume. Not great, but his rim number, 76% of the rim. That's ridiculous. 34% from three is not terrible. And if you go to offensive rebounding, I think I could find that somewhere. His offensive rebound percentage is actually not like that crazy. I'm telling you, his offensive rebounding is better than this says. His defensive rebounding is good. He averaged 8 rebounds a game, only 24 minutes. He's really good. He's going to be a really good center. They could really use a center as well, which getting that at 23 and getting Chris Knack at 23 is awesome because, like, you really only have Onyeka Okongwu right now, and Onyeka Okongwu is not even necessarily spectacular by any means. So getting Chris Knack here would be really awesome for Atlanta. Next, New York. This is where I could really see Kareem Lopez because he does a lot. He could play off the catch. I don't know if they have Kareem Lopez's shot chart in here. Probably not. Yeah, I didn't think they did. Yeah, but I think his percentage is probably like 34% from three. He can do a lot of things. He can really guard. I like Isaiah Evans for them too, but I could really see him going with Kareem Lopez. But dude, the way Landry Shamet's looking like for them and how he can bring value, imagine what Isaiah Evans could do. Okay, I just convinced myself of Isaiah Evans. Elite shooter, really finished well at the rim. He's improved so much from year one at Duke to year two at Duke. And if Landry Shamet can bring value for New York, then Isaiah Evans is going to bring exponentially more value to New York. So I'm going to go with Isaiah Evans. 25, the Lakers. The Lakers, look, this would be a Flory Badunga spot, but Flory Badunga's not available. So this is kind of tough. Because there's not a lot of shooting on the board anymore, which is something I think they could really use. There's not really a big man on the board. You don't need a guard at all. You probably would want more of a wing or a center, but there's not really a center besides Zuby. But I don't think Zuby's necessarily a Lakers center with Luka Doncic. So, I think here I would probably just go with Kareem Lopez because Kobe Pete doesn't bring you any shooting. At least Kareem Lopez could bring you some shooting and, could have definitely some value in playing off the ball with Luka. And he's probably fallen a little bit too far. He probably won't fall this far in the draft, but, this is kind of how I've seen it played out this time. And I did some different things because I don't want to just have the same picks every single time, you know what I'm saying? So I'll go with Kareem Lopez to the Lakers. If Flory's there, though, that's Flory Badunga for sure. But if he's not, Denver. I talked about this last time. I'm going to talk about it again. I might not do it this time because I kind of want to go another route. But I think Zuby Ejiofor would be awesome. Backup center next to Jokic, he brings a totally different vibe, totally different energy. Again, I keep comparing him to Isaiah Stewart, and I really like that comparison for him. Being Isaiah Stewart, he could set screens, he could pass, he shot it a little bit. You could look at his shot chart here. Shot 63. He's only at 30%, but still, he's shooting him. 63% of the field was like the defensive player of the year in his conference. Absolutely guards insanely. Like, this could be a pick that I really like for Denver. I'm going to go a different place for this. I kind of like Momcilovic. I don't know if I'm going to go with it. I thought about going with Malik Thomas to just like add some shooting because, maybe they could use some shooting because they have a lot of guys that like fit next to Jokic can really guard. Maybe they could use like just some more straight up shooters next to Jokic and we'll just knock down shots. That's something Momcilovic, that's like really all he does. But Malik Thomas can really shoot it too. He could replace like Bruce Brown. But Momcilovic also gives you some size. I'm going to go with Malik Thomas here, but just note that I like Zuby Ejiofor and Momcilovic for them. But Malik Thomas, I mean, you look at Malik Thomas's shot chart, I definitely have him a lot lower, but almost 42% from three on really high volume, shot it pretty decently at the rim. Like, he can really shoot it. He's an off-ball player, which is what you want for the Nuggets. So I'm gonna go with Malik Thomas for the Nuggets there. 27, the Boston Celtics. Brad Stevens talked about wanting to have some more creation. He did. I don't know if this guy necessarily fits like crazy well with Boston. I think it's an interesting fit, but I'm telling you, Brad Stevens talked about wanting some more creation and being able to, get some better shots. And I think Ibuka Corey could really do that for him. He has a really good handle, super fast player, and I think he could do some of the things that Brad Stevens was talking about for Boston. Even though I haven't done that yet, but in this mock, that's where I'm going to land. Minnesota, this is another interesting one. I think you could use some shooting. Like, they're another team where I'm like, gosh, sometimes they just need someone that can like make shots, which is what Momcilovic does. Karaban would also do that. He's a winning player. Zuby would be interesting for them, but they took Berenjay, so I don't really think Zuby would get drafted here. Koa Pete would certainly be interesting as well. I don't know if Koa Pete fits here because they need someone that's going to make shots. I don't necessarily think they need more size for defense. They already have a lot of that. I'm going to go Momcilovic. A lot of the things the Wolves are lacking is, well, for one, point guard play, but maybe they'll just go into like fully Anthony Edwards playing the point guard and Ayo Dosunmu. But they need a guy that like he can just make shots because they'll have open looks from Jaden McDaniels and Julius Randle, and they just miss. This dude, you cannot give him open looks. He's a 50% three-point shooter. Like, this is going to just look ridiculous, but look at this. 48% from three, almost 300 threes. So that's all he does. Does not shoot at the rim. But, oh my gosh, 300 attempts from three, and he makes half of them. That is unheard of. It's ridiculous. Moving on, Cleveland. Cleveland's an interesting one. Something I've said about Cleveland is I feel like they look soft at times. They look like they don't have this tenacity that you would want. Not that their players are like weak, but they just like look soft sometimes. And I think this guy, he brings it defensively is something they could use. He's definitely not soft. His effort is ridiculous. His physicality is ridiculous. And Zuby Ejiofor, I think, would be absolutely amazing for the Cleveland Cavaliers here. 30, Dallas. Who did we pick for Dallas first? It went Braden Burries. And I'm actually going to pair up the teammates here. I'm going to pair up the teammates, and I'm going to go with Koa Pete. I will say, I don't necessarily love Koa Pete's fit next to Cooper Flagg, but guess what? If it doesn't turn out, it's the 30th overall pick. He definitely has some upside. If he does work out, you have a Koa Pete, Cooper Flagg, Braden Burries. Like, you're getting somewhere. Defensively, that sounds really good. You have a lot of physicality. Hopefully, Koa Pete can figure out his offensive game a little bit because it's definitely not great. But I still think it's worth it here. If they didn't go with Koa Pete, I think Tonde Yesufu could be someone they look at. Alex Karaban could be someone interesting for them. But I think they would rather go with the younger prospect because they're rebuilding and they have young guys like Braden Burries and Cooper Flagg if they actually went with Burries. So I'm going to go with Koa Pete. And yeah, that's going to be the first round. I'm not going to go into the second round. I've talked about prospects. If you want to see me talk about some of the more of these prospects, just go do my last mock draft. I talk about it at the end, some of the guys I like. But yeah, that's going to do it. This is super fun. I'm super excited. Post lottery, I'm going to keep doing some more of these, maybe like one a week, honestly, and just try to keep going through different scenarios as the combine goes on. Maybe we'll get on here and talk about prospects and how they looked and certain things, certain news. Yeah, but that's gonna do it. Stay lookout on the channel. I'm gonna do playoff recaps. I'm gonna continue to do playoff recaps and just drop mock drafts here and there, and then we're gonna get to the NBA draft. And after the NBA draft, I mean, there's a ton of videos you can do after that. But yeah, if anyone got to this point in the video, comment Mike Conley the GOAT. Just comment Mike Conley the GOAT, because if you get here, you real if you got to this point. I doubt anyone gets here though, but let's go and do it. I'm out. Deuces.